I'm Teisha Bader with Shalom TV's news update for Thursday, September the 12th, 2013. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said yesterday that the international community must make certain that Syria is in fact stripped of its chemical weapons, which he said will also serve as a lesson for Iran. Referring to the proposal from Russia that would have Syria's chemical weapons brought under international control and ultimately destroyed, Netanyahu said now it must be ensured that the Syrian regime will be disarmed of its chemical weapons, and the world needs to make certain that those who use weapons of mass destruction will pay the price for it. Adding the message that Syria receives will be received in Iran. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry arrived in Geneva this morning to hear the details of Russia's plans. Kerry and a team of U.S. experts will hold at least 2 days of meetings with their Russian counterparts today and tomorrow. Officials with the Secretary of State have said that any deal must force Syria to take swift steps to show that it is serious about abandoning its chemical arsenal. Among the first steps Washington wants, one official said, is for the government of Assad to make a complete public declaration of its chemical weapons stockpiles quickly as a prelude to allowing them to be inspected and neutralized. Meanwhile, Interfax news agency quoted Syrian President Assad saying during a Russian TV interview today that Syria is placing its chemical weapons under international control because of Russia and not due to any U.S. threats. A senior White House aide briefed close to 700 rabbis and Jewish communal leaders earlier this week on the Syria issue. Deputy National Security Advisor Ben Rhodes conducted a conference call which was organized by the Reform Movement's Religious Action Center and the Conservative Movement's Rabbinical Assembly. According to RA Executive Vice President Rabbi Julie Schoenfeld, the call brought in 691 callers from all religious streams. Schoenfeld said that rabbis were eager to be briefed on Syria so they could better address the issue in their Yom Kippur sermons. Regarding Syrian President Assad, Obama had said on Tuesday that he would delay a vote in Congress on military action in Syria in order to explore the proposal from Russia, but that a military strike was still on the table should diplomacy fail. In what appears to be another accidental spillover from the Syrian conflict, 3 mortar shells fired from Syria landed in the Israeli Golan Heights today. 2 early this morning and 1 additional one this afternoon. No injuries or damage were reported in either incident, and the IDF were searching the area. A Palestinian man was shot and wounded by IDF soldiers after he opened fire on those soldiers at Joseph's Tomb in Nablus early this morning. The Palestinian opened fire on the IDF troops who were guarding hundreds of Jewish worshippers at the tomb ahead of Yom Kippur, which begins tomorrow night. The troops returned fire and moderately to seriously injuring the shooter, who was then treated by IDF medical personnel and sent to an Israeli hospital for further treatment. Lieutenant General Colonel Peter Lerner of the IDF spokesman's office said the IDF ensures freedom of religion and worship throughout the region. Last night's incident emphasized the challenges we have and the potential jeopardizing of religious beliefs. He said the IDF will continue to facilitate the religious needs of the various populations in the region. And the IDF's Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Benny Gantz, will be staying on in his post for another year. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Moshe Ya'alon announced today that they were extending Gantz's tenure by 1 year, marking a total of 4 years that Gantz will be on the job. Netanyahu said in the past 3 years, Chief of Staff Gantz has led the IDF with impressive success in the face of the most complicated security challenges that the State of Israel has ever known. Gantz thanked Netanyahu and Ya'alon for their trust and said that he was sure that the close cooperation between the IDF, the Prime Minister, and the Defense Minister would become even tighter in the face of the security challenges ahead. Meanwhile, Gantz sent a letter to IDF soldiers on the 40th anniversary of the Yom Kippur War, where he wrote, "The IDF is on its guard and ready as ever. Our eyes and ears are open as the storm around us unfolds. The battles waged by our neighbors are still confined to their territories, but any bullet or threat that crosses into Israel is met with an appropriate response by us. Gantz's extension of duty will go to the Knesset next week for final approval. Reuters reports that Bulgaria intends to put the suspects believed to have been involved in the Burgas terror attack last summer on trial in Bulgaria early next year. Bulgarian authorities have identified 2 of the suspects involved in the attack, which killed 5 Israeli tourists and a Bulgarian bus driver. They were identified as Australian citizen Meliad Farah and Canadian citizen Hassan El Haj Hassan, both of whom are of Lebanese origin. Bulgarian Chief Prosecutor Sotir Tsatsarov said prosecutors have established the whereabouts of the 2 suspects and plan to request their extradition to Bulgaria. Tsatsarov told reporters, "We need to send a crystal clear signal that such terrorism meets zero tolerance in Bulgaria. If we cannot bring them to court in person, we will charge them in absence, but we will send a clear signal that such investigations in Bulgaria end with a verdict." A bipartisan group from the U.S. Senate has introduced a U.S.-Israel energy collaboration bill. The legislators, led by Senator Mary Landrieu of Louisiana, introduced the bill on Tuesday, which promotes partnership with Israel on energy research and development. It is called the United States-Israel Energy Cooperation Enhancement Bill, and it aims to recognize the potential for and foster collaborations on developing resources such as natural gas and alternative fuels through the country's academic, business, governmental, and other sectors. Landrieu pointed to the discovery in 2010 of the natural gas field off of Israel's coast, the Leviathan field, and said this is an incredible chance for the U.S. to share our energy expertise to support a critical ally while creating economic opportunities here at home. Well, New York City's Central Park was filled with Jewish spirit Tuesday night as reggae rock sensation Matisyahu delivered an electric performance on the eve of 9/11 and just days before Yom Kippur. Returning to his hometown of New York to play as part of the Good Vibes tour with reggae band Revolution, Matisyahu demonstrated that while he may have dropped his ultra-Orthodox persona, he hasn't lost his love of Judaism, as he especially roused the crowd by singing Hebrew blessings and messages for the new year. Towards the end of the show, Matisyahu was joined on stage by Jewish rapper Kosha Dills, who was also enthusiastic about being in New York and about his heritage. Together, he and Matisyahu finished the show with Matisyahu's hit song One Day, where audience members joined on stage to celebrate the moment. And with Yom Kippur beginning tomorrow evening, make sure to watch a special L'chaim for Yom Kippur tonight at 6:30 here on Shalom TV. And at 9 o'clock, don't miss another L'chaim where Mark Golub is joined by former New York City homicide detective Morty Zakansky, who talks about his personal experience during 9/11. For complete details of our special Yom Kippur programming, including our live services from Central Synagogue, you can always visit the website shalomtv.com. And that's Shalom TV's news update for Thursday, September the 12th, 2013. I'm Teisha Bader.